The Tulsa Real Estate Fund and Jay Morrison is finally going down. Now, if you're watching this channel, a lot of you guys don't know that I actually practice real estate. I'm a licensed real estate professional. As of late, the business has been slow for the past couple of months, just based off the economy. For me specifically, not really speaking for nobody else, I'm speaking for me. But if you guys remember, I did a video on real estate scams. I've also done several videos kind of touching on, real estate funds and if real estate funds really work most of the time. And I never really, said any names. I never really, said too much about it. The only thing I ever did was give illusions. And one of the illusions I gave, I made reference to was, the Tulsa Real Estate TREF fund that most people would talk about right now. So what was the TREF fund? A brief history is basically it was a real estate fund that a person by an online guru by the name of Jay Morrison created and kind of hyped up in the black community. And basically, to get people to donate a whole bunch of money to this particular fund in hopes that they're going to invest it into real estate. And the people who invest into it were supposed to be somewhat of shareholders, right? Well, see, the problem was, everything technically he did with the fund was legal if you read the paperwork. Now, the fund failed, and the fund is actually near bankruptcy right now. They're actually about to go through bankruptcy filing right now, and as of today, the fund only has $700,000 in some cash and then $700,000 in some change. Even though at the peak of this particular fund, which was like 5 years ago, they had like $11 million in donations. Now, most people look at this, a lot of people, more notably Julian Gordon, a lot of people have been saying, Jay Morrison has been unethically scamming the black community for years. And as a real estate professional, I can definitely attest to that. Some of this stuff, I wouldn't say it's scamming, but it's highly unethical. And a lot of the stuff that he's done over the past few years, he's more so used it for his benefit to become a millionaire. Even with the TREF situation. TREF was basically just a crowdfunding platform that pretty much made Jay Morrison a millionaire, because Jay Morrison couldn't become a millionaire back when, in 2020, when he did, but, all of the online, think of Jay Morrison as more so one of the OG online gurus when it comes to selling stuff that you really have no expertise about. Jay Morrison has no real estate experience. Matter of fact, Jay Morrison didn't start buying real estate until after he got all those donations from the TREF fund. Even when he was a real estate agent, he got accused of scamming. He scammed his own business partner. Matter of fact, when he was a real estate agent, him scamming his business partner is actually how he ended up getting fired from his actual brokerage. Now, all of this stuff is actually stuff that you can look up online, and Jay Morrison has never really, been a real estate professional or has real life real estate experience outside of selling the BS courses that he has been selling for years. And now, they say now he's in the credit game, and now he's also becoming a pastor now, right? But it's neither here or there. Buddy, what he did wrong was, he went out his way and he started the TREF, and a lot of people didn't do their research and read the paperwork at TREF, basically stating, regardless of if this particular fund made money, he still got paid. And more notably, if you know or aware of Jay Morrison's tactic, most of the things that Jay Morrison does is always to his benefit so he can get paid. It's not really to, help the community. To this day, there's nobody who can say Jay Morrison more so helped them make money or get rich. None of his students say that. In fact, most of his students say he's a scammer. But I say that to say is, in most cases, with the whole Treff real estate fund, it's actually going back to my real estate scam video. If it sounds too good to be true, 9 times out of 10, it's too good to be true. Also, if you don't, when it comes to investing into real estate or investing into things with these online gurus and whatnot, if the online gurus' friend themselves are not promoting it, 9 times out of 10 is probably some BS. And what do I mean by that? Majority of Jay Morrison's friends knew the fund was BS from the get-go. That's why when, a lot of people started accusing Jay Morrison of scamming or bringing up his name, a lot of people don't want to really bring his name up because a lot of his friends already knew what the deal was. Majority of his friends knew what the deal was. In fact, Jay Morrison is actually the one who kind of put a lot of the online gurus on to, scamming the black community or grifting the black community, I would say. Now, what I mean by that is, before you had EYL, before you had, the Brother Polites of the world, before you had Dr. Umar Johnson's, you had Jay Morrison. The problem is that Jay Morrison was one of those folks who never made real money from. Oh yeah, excuse me. You got a little it's a whole bunch of craziness happening right now in Pensacola. I'm going back to Miami this week. But back to what I was saying. Jay Morrison was one of those original OGs online gurus who was more so teaching stuff that he never really did. But it sounded good and he was a great marketer and he made millions off selling BS. The problem was, when the whole COVID era came out, Jay Morrison kind of felt away because a lot of the people that he put on, like him 500, EYL, 19 Keys, and a lot of other people, they blackballed him from the industry. And pretty much ran with his whole strategy, and they all, in a sense, got rich off of, kind of grifting the black community, I would say. But that's neither here or there. What I do want to say is that, guys, like, when it comes to, I was watching a video about a real estate trapper. He made something, really known and really cool, right? He said, when it comes to the real estate, 9 times out of 10, if an investor is asking you to invest your money for you, 9 times out of 10 is some BS, and 9 times out of 10 is scamming. And also, with me being in the real estate business, I've been there for about 5 years. With real estate, most people are not profitable when it comes to investing in real estate. Why? Because most people don't know what the hell they're doing. And 2, is because real estate investing is a skill set, and flipping and actually making money from your real estate investment, that's an actual skill set that most people do not have and do not want to learn. Nor do they have the patience to kind of master it or pay somebody who knows what they're doing. That's why you see people asking people for money. That's why you hear about a lot of these real estate scams where people are scamming folks for money or scamming people out of 30s and hundreds, almost hundreds of millions of dollars. It's because real estate investing in general is expensive, and real estate investing in general is hard. And most people who talk a good game online don't actually do it. That's why you hear all these stories about people feeling like, they got scammed, when they should have just did the work themselves or did their own due diligence, and they wouldn't have these issues. But that's just my thought process on it, you feel me? But back to what I'm saying, I'm actually happy, this whole Tulsa real estate, this Treff fund is actually getting exposed, because this has been something that's, kind of been huge in the black community. And as a matter of fact, about 5 years ago, I think I was still in high school 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, when this whole thing popped off, I was one of those people who was actually going to invest into it. And the problem with a lot of these particular, investments is that a lot of rich people don't invest into BS funds like this anyway. if you do your research on a lot of the people, on a lot of the amount of money that was donated, or the increment levels of money that was donated, it was in $500 increment. The biggest investor in Treff was $40,000. The biggest investment in Treff was $40,000 in one lump sum. So, if anything, majority of those $11 million in funds that they raised was from 9 times out of 10 was probably from poor people who probably don't even have $1,000 to their name right now if an emergency pops up. But they sure did invest their $500 into the Treff fund, and they lost their money. But I say that says, nobody's coming to save you. Don't give your money to nobody to go do something that you go do for yourself, honestly. If anything, learn how to do stuff yourself, or go pay a mentor to teach you the game. What am I here to say, basically? Basically, what I'm here to say is, when it comes to situations like this particular event or Treff, like, guys, don't stop giving. And this is not a financial advice, but being realistic. Stop giving your money to people who barely know what they're doing, or just really stop giving your money to people who you don't even know what they're doing with your money. It's a difference between, giving your money to a financial advisor and then also just giving your money to somebody who creates an illusion or is a great marketer who says, hey, give me this particular amount of money with no paperwork and I'll do this. 9 times out of 10, if a rich person is asking you for your money to do something that they could obviously do with them for themselves, there's probably something wrong. That's with trading, that's with real estate, that's with most things, if you gotta ask what the word is or what the deal is, or they gotta come to you and ask you for the money, there's something wrong. It's a problem. But most people don't really get that, you feel me? But hey, I'm just here, to spread, the light of the youth. Personally, I would never do business with Jay Morrison. Honestly, the way I'm kind of rocking, I would highly encourage nobody. If you've never really met a person or actually know a person, like any of these people on the internet, that goes for like 19 Keys, that goes for any of these people who talk a good game. A lot of these people don't have real businesses, and a lot of these people don't even have a merchant account. And if you don't know what a merchant account is, I highly suggest you do your due diligence. Majority of these people are the average, everyday people who are able to talk a good game and make things look realistic, even though they're not realistic. So, what I highly recommend is, if you're going to do something or learn something, learn a real skill set and learn how to do it for yourself first, and then worry about if, you can actually make money from it. Do the work, guys. A lot of people just don't want to do the work. But all you gotta do is just do the work, and you'll be alright. But hey, like, subscribe, and share. And yeah.